Touch the everyone, I'm Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly feature in English that tells you about this week's news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama brings the ancient Indian wisdom to Mumbai. India can promote education of heart and mind, His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Mumbai. United States assures support for Tibet, CTA President lobbies in DC. Tibet supporters must move beyond words to concrete actions, US Congressional Subcommittee. His Holiness the Dalai Lama's wish is to foster friendly relations between Chinese and Tibetans, CTA President in New York. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is the essence of our being. We owe him a debt of gratitude, CTA President to Tibetans in New York. The Solidarity Rally is a wake-up call to the United Nations and the international community, CTA President in New York. On Friday last week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave a teaching on ancient Indian tradition to over 350 Indian students at the Somaiya Vidya Vihar in Mumbai. His Holiness introduced the ancient Indian concepts of mind and emotion and stressed on the importance of ancient Indian tradition of Nalanda.
Indian now should pay more attention about ancient Indian knowledge. India is the only nation who have the ability and opportunity to combine modern technology, modern knowledge, modern education, modernity, plus ancient Indian knowledge, how to bring inner peace. Combine this is a physical comfort as well as mental comfort.
On advice of His Holiness, the Indian students and young Tibetan Buddhist scholars had a review session on the topics discussed earlier with His Holiness. On Sunday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave a public talk on ancient Indian Nalanda tradition to over 2,000 Indians, Tibetans and foreigners at the Somaiya Vidya Vihar in Mumbai. He reminded Indians to rigorously study the rich ancient Indian Nalanda knowledge which is more than 1,000 years old. India is the only country that can blend modern education of material values and ancient Indian knowledge to have better future for this world.
Tibetan language is the most closest language with Sanskrit. So therefore, those subjects which in Sanskrit language, now all those topics, now Tibetan language, now best language to explain. So therefore, preservation of Tibetan language and Tibetan Buddhist knowledge is not only concern for 6 million Tibetan people, but it's a large number of Buddhists in China proper.
President Samir Somaiya, the grandson of the founder of Somaiya College, thanked His Holiness the Dalai Lama for making his 4th visit. His Holiness unveiled the statue of the grandfather of Samir Somaiya at the beginning of the public talk at Somaiya Vidya Vihar. On Friday last week, on his lobby visit to Washington, D.C., CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye met with several high-profile U.S. congressmen from both houses of the U.S. Congress. Dr. Singye met with Senator Tom Cotton, one of the closest senators to President Trump, Senator Lindsey Graham, Chair of Senate Appropriation Committee, and Representative Nita Lowe, ranking member of the House Committee on Appropriations, who have played an influential role in appropriating funds for Tibetan programs in the past and expressed continued funding for the Tibetan community in the future. Dr. Singye also met with Senator Marco Rubio, former Republican presidential candidate, and Representative Jim McGovern, co-chair of the U.S. Subcommittee on Human Rights. President Dr. Singye further raised awareness on the middle way approach of the Central Tibetan Administration and highlighted the need to resume dialogue with China to resolve the Tibet issue. He also urged the senators and the representatives to expedite the appointment of a special coordinator for Tibetan issue in the U.S. State Department. On Wednesday last week, the U.S. Congressional Subcommittee on Asia and Pacific held a hearing on the U.S. government's Tibet policy and discussed the urgent situation prevailing inside Tibet under China.
Radio Free Asia.
During the
Mr. Carl
hearing,
Gershman,
members of the committee
President
and the
of
witnesses,
National Endowment
including
for Democracy.
Carl Gershman, President of the National Endowment for Democracy, Richard Gere, Chairman of ICT Board, and Tenzing Thedong, Director of the Tibetan Service of Radio Free Asia, gave testimonials calling for substantive action to resolve the Tibet issue, the growing political and economic clout of the Chinese government, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the succession issue, the geopolitical importance of Tibet to the People's Republic of China and the rest of Asia. Richard Gere highlighted the dire political and human rights situation prevailing inside Tibet and spoke about the recent self-immolation of Tenga, a well-respected monk in eastern Tibet's Kharze region, and expressed support for the Tibetan people's calls for genuine autonomy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tenga, who just sacrificed his life for the Tibetan people, his brothers and sisters.
On Friday last week, Dr. Lobsang Singye addressed a gathering of Chinese and Tibetans in New York and spoke about the importance of grassroots support of ordinary Chinese public to resolve the Tibet issue and informed the gathering of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's advice of maintaining friendly and harmonious relations between Chinese and Tibetans. He applauded the gathering as an example of Sino-Tibetan friendship and called it a step in the right direction. The Chinese intellectuals expressed admiration for His Holiness the Dalai Lama's vision for world peace and extended support to the resolution of Tibet issue based on the middle way approach. On Saturday last week, thousands of Tibetans took part in the 28th anniversary celebration of the conferment of Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness the Dalai Lama in New York City. In his address, Dr. Singye expressed his deep gratitude to His Holiness and reminded that whatever Tibetans have achieved and whatever support Tibetans enjoy from the international community is all because of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's blessing and his effort. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is the essence of our being. We owe him a debt of gratitude, said Dr. Singye. Professor Raj Mohan Gandhi, grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, who was a special guest on that occasion, said that although Mahatma Gandhi and His Holiness are two different individuals, but they are an embodiment of each other for millions of people in the world. On Sunday this week, thousands of Tibetans and Tibet supporters from across the United States and Canada took part in a mass solidarity rally in front of the United Nations headquarters in New York City to mark International Day of Human Rights. The rally marked the culmination of 2017 year of campaign declared by the Kasha on 10th March this year. President Dr. Lobsang Singye, Speaker Khenpo Sonam Thempel, Chinese activist Chen Guangchen, and many others spoke at the rally.
That's why we are here today, to tell United Nations and the international community the tragedy of Tibet has been going on for 60 years. And next year marks the 70th anniversary of Human Rights Declaration. Where is our human rights?
He said that the rally was a wake-up call to the UN and the international community, explaining that ignoring the just cause of Tibet is akin to ignoring human rights, democracy, and violence. Over 30,000 Tibetans residing in North America have organized and participated in various rallies and campaigns to highlight the Chinese government's atrocities in Tibet and have called for the resumption of dialogue between Chinese representatives and envoys of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So much for this week. See you next time. Have a great weekend.